Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 19? 19.
I swear this
18?
might be episode 20.
Wait, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
hold up. This is kind of crazy if we don't know what episode we're on.
Damn, we've been doing this for so... Wait, it actually feels kind of long, because if you really break it down, if this is episode 20, that's 20 weeks. That's 5 months.
No, this is episode 20.
Damn! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to special episode 20. Well, actually, I can't really call it a special, but we do have something cooking up coming soon, so stay tuned for that. But
Yeah.
welcome to episode 20. Sorry for the little bit of disconnect here, but
That's
we're
kinda
very
crazy.
excited. Yeah, think about
Yeah,
that. That's
20
5
episodes.
months.
Well, under 5 months, but yeah.
No, it's not.
A month isn't 4 weeks, buddy.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. 4 times 7 is 28. Months have 30 days or 31 days. Except February. Like, come on, man. You got to be thinking.
Okay,
and
fine.
it was a leap year this year, I think.
Fine, little under 5 months, but whatever. Close enough. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. We've been
Yeah.
having a blast
It's
doing this.
absolutely
But
amazing.
anyways, formalities out of the way. Welcome to episode 20, where today we're going to be talking about dreaming big and the importance of it. But quickly before we get into that, introductory topic here, TikTok getting banned. I want your thoughts
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
we were talking about
situation.
this at the car.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting because when we talked about what I said is that I think the net negative is not as bad as the net positive, okay? And I think there's a lot of people out there that are using TikTok for good, whether it be education, content creation, a lot of this other stuff. But en masse, it's absolutely ruining the lives of our entire generation. Like, I have a friend who sends me these stupid brain rot videos. You know who you are.
Oh.
Yeah, see, look, you shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah.
It's this stuff that literally is just straight up taking space in your mind to, like, that could be replaced with actually meaningful stuff is literally being taken over by useless information.
You know something hilarious about that?
What?
When he sent me a video, I thought like it was going to be one of those videos. Luckily, it was not. It was actually something kind of useful and funny. But those videos, they have no meaning. It's just garbage.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you go into the video, one person, you come out the exact same person with nothing.
Damn.
You didn't think of anything at all. Like, at least if you go across some kind of interesting video about something you're passionate about. Like, if I go and I watch a Brawl Stars reel, I'll be like, damn, I could use a character in a new way. Now, obviously, I'm not going to say that that's the, that means that it's all
effective, yeah.
good, but at least I go through it and get something that might make my life slightly better.
Okay. Well, my counter argument here for you is you presented some of the pros of the brain rot and everything. Well, actually, you know what? Oh, sorry, cons. Do you want to lay out the rest of the cons first before I make a case for?
Well, no, I meant mostly the destruction of attention span in today's societies.
I mean, I thought the main reason they were banning it was because of the whole government spying situation.
Well, that's also a thing I'd assume. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying, like, because I'm talking to the general populace. To most of the general populace, the idea of, being spied on by the CCP isn't a big deal. Like, people
is
don't think about
shocking.
that, which is very shocking. But even me, I'd say I wouldn't, even though I feel like I should be, if somebody told me, yo, we're being spied on by Chinese spies right now. Or, okay, I don't want to put a race out there like that, but
I mean, that's just a
that's
fact
like
right
what
now
they've
in the
been doing.
situation.
But
yeah.
I'll say, in general, any spy, if somebody's like, yo, you're being spied on right now, I'd be like a little bit creeped out, but I wouldn't be freaking out of my mind. I wouldn't be losing like my mind over it.
You know why you shouldn't?
Why?
We're technically being spied on right now
Yeah, I know.
by any big
Okay, to
corporation
be
and
fair,
company.
we're also kind of recording ourselves and putting it on the internet for everybody to see. So, if anything, we're kind of just spying on ourselves at this point. But
Spyception.
that's true. I mean, yeah, you got these little bricks here that are recording everything that we do. So,
That's true.
honestly, the idea of privacy in today's world is foreign.
Non-existent.
Yeah.
Anyways, making a case for though, I think the biggest people who will be impacted are creators like us. If you look at any of our videos, none have done better than on TikTok. None have gotten any exposure the way that they do on TikTok.
Sure, I thought our YouTube does way better.
No. In none of our YouTube videos or shorts rather have crossed the 3,000 view mark. But some of our TikToks have crossed like 6,000 and 7,000 before we got shadow banned, which we still are, by the way. Absolute scam on TikTok's behalf. Maybe if it gets banned, it's not such a bad
That's
bad
what I'm
thing.
saying. I just think that again, it's like, there's an analogy that you brought up. Suppose, take speeding, for example. Okay? If I'm speeding to get to a place on time versus somebody that's speeding recklessly for fun, right? Suppose that in these two situations, speeding is illegal because it's unsafe, right? Even though to me it's extremely beneficial. I would get to my place on time. But no, they say, hey, regardless of your intention, whether it be good or bad, you can't do it because it's endangerment. So similarly with TikTok, is that, yeah, some people may be using it for good, but it's endangerment to the general populace or to a majority of people.
I guess that's true. I mean, bottom line is anything can be, well, not anything, but any good thing could be exploited and used for negative reasons. And then once they ruin it for everyone. So,
And I'd say the big thing is AI. It's such a travesty that AI isn't allowed to be used in schools for good reason. Because I've fiddled around with ChatGPT for like actually good reasons. Like I used it to teach me chemistry, and I was like, "Could you break this down in different terms?" And it was actually very useful. I got it to write like a 5-page paper on acids and bases,
I strongly
could
disagree.
learn. Really?
It's only good for very basic solutions. If you say like explain pH and acids and bases, it can probably do it. But if you say use the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation to explain why pH and pKa are related, it struggles. I mean, even then, that's a pretty basic question. But
Have you asked it?
I've tried it, not with that because that's pretty basic in terms of chemistry. But in one of my earlier chemistry courses, I tried putting in a question from one of my assignments to see what it would do. I already had the question answered. I just wanted to see, but it did not give me the right
Okay,
answer.
but my point wasn't surrounding complex. That's why I said it's like for simple stuff.
Maybe
Like,
so,
and I
yeah.
think the idea is that people use it for the wrong things. AI is brilliant, right? AI is literally shaping our future. It is the future. That's what AI is. It's going to be our future. So by not allowing kids to be exposed to it, they're kind of stripping away their view of the future. Because whether you believe it or not, AI is going to be the future.
Well,
whether
I
you
mean-
want it to be, even it might be even it's the right now.
It is
honestly.
the right now.
It is
Hell,
the right
if
now.
you are an investor in any of the Magnificent Seven right now, you are having a good week because
Yeah.
I know I am. Like that. What was it? Thursday. Thursday was a good day. It was a very good day for me because of AI and Google and Microsoft implementing AI in new ways, optimizing their searching. Those things have revolutionized the way we use the internet. So, I mean, there's definitely good uses for it, but I don't know. I feel like it is certainly dangerous to an extent. Don't you think that AI could potentially, go Terminator mode and take out all of
Well,
humanity?
yeah, but again, that's why you just avoid allowing AI to write its own code. That's a simple thing. That's why you never, ever, ever develop an AI that can write AI.
Well, don't you think that an AI can already program code? So don't you think that eventually, with enough learning, it'll be able to program itself?
Maybe. I meant maybe we're trending towards a future like that. But I'm not too fearful,
Okay, fair play.
honestly.
Fair
I
play.
don't live in fear of the future. One of my friends, he showed me this video, and it's like, oh, what would you do in this situation? And it's like a massive monster eating the moon. And I was like, and he's like, yo, what would you do in this situation? And obviously he was joking, but like, I'm like, what would you expect me to do?
Yeah,
Like something like
fight
that
the
happens,
monster?
like what's gonna happen? No, I would just sit there and
Chill.
be on Earth. Like there's a meteor coming in like a couple of years or something that might hit Earth. It's apparently like a 2% chance. Or it's a 2% chance that it enters the orbit and then in another 5 years it would actually hit us. But 10 years in the future, I'm sorry, but I just wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Like right now, does it really matter?
Not to mention also, since it's so out of your control, does it even matter?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's
can you really control anything? Same thing with, honestly, TikTok getting banned. You can't do anything about it. I mean, unless the whole country bands together and does something.
Exactly.
But the one thing I find very ironic about this situation is that the bill to ban TikTok was passed within 2 weeks and signed off on within that time frame. But a bill to help with a lot of other issues that Americans deal with on a daily basis can't be passed without several years of annoying conflict and turmoil throughout the government. But, that's just a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get your opinion on it because it's going to change the way that we as a channel function and how a lot of people's lives work. You know what I
But
mean?
I think for better.
Okay, fair
for
play.
us.
I think that
I would say.
overall, I agree for the most part because we can still make YouTube videos and Instagram videos. So,
Yeah. Like in the end, I feel like it's not so much where you put it, it's that you put it.
yeah.
And there's plenty of other platforms that are going to take the place of TikTok. Like I don't think TikTok dies and then no more short form content ever.
It's time.
Like for Vine to come back, is that what you're
Yep,
going to say?
the revival of Vine.
Maybe that'll be cool. But the principle is that something new always takes an old thing's place. Nothing stays dead forever. It always gets replaced.
That's true.
That's a cool thing about our world is that everything is always being replaced, whether it be for better or for good.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, thank you for your thoughts on that. But now, ladies and gentlemen, for the main topic of today, the importance of dreaming big. So before we get started, I want to ask you, name 3 famous people.
Name 3 famous people.
Any 3 people.
Just any people I want.
Any people you want.
It's a very hard question.
Just name 3 people.
All right, I'm going to go David Goggins,
Okay.
Teddy Baldessare,
Okay.
and the Stradman.
Okay. 3 very, very honorable choices. I
Yeah.
respect that. Do you say that they inspire you?
I'd say so.
Okay. Now, did any of those 3 people dream small?
No, obviously not.
And that is the most important message to understand.
Mm-hmm.
If the people that inspire you didn't think in a small-minded fashion, why should you? Don't you want to go places? Don't you want to be in, maybe not exactly their shoes, but in a similar situation? You want to be successful, right? So why would you dream small when all the people who made it dreamed big? So that's the first thing. Obviously, you're going to have to dream big to make it big, okay? And the biggest thing about those 3 people that I really like is you pick 3 people who had to struggle with adversity and made it to something. David Goggins obviously was like fat. Teddy Baldessar just had a passion for watches, and now he owns an actual store of his own. And then the Stradman started off as homeless. Now he has a multi-million-dollar car collection.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I didn't know much about Teddy's background because I knew that's where you were leading with this point.
Mm-hmm.
But I picked him because honestly, he's just a phenomenal YouTuber. I'd say anybody that wants to get into the watch space, you should definitely go check him out. Makes phenomenal videos. And yeah, he just came from making these videos about it to literally selling these watches. And all of that was built on a passion, something that he loved. And also one big thing that I think a lot of people need to draw from your point is the idea of making your own path. It's that what other people do isn't always what's going to be your way, right? Each person has an individual path of life. So it's impossible for you to sit here and be like, okay, I want to be like this guy, so in the end, my life will be like him. Because that's not true. We all face different adversities in our life, so you can't face challenges the same way that other people would. Right? You need to figure out creatively how you can solve problems that are in your way in your own way.
Yeah, true.
If that makes sense. And it's cool because there's a quote. You know the quote, "The pen is mightier than the sword," right?
Yeah.
So there's another quote, and the quote goes, "The pen isn't mightier than the sword. Pens do not win battles, nor swords write poetry. Mighty is the hand that knows when to pick up the pen or pick up the sword." And that's from Regraph Foles. And the idea behind the quote, at least from my interpretation, is that you need to know when to use a specific skill set to overcome a problem. And that skill set is not going to be the same way that somebody else has done it. So to think that your dream is just because it's similar, just because suppose I want to be rich, somebody else is rich. The same way Elon Musk solved the problem is not how I'm going to solve it. Mm-hmm. I can try and pick up the sword to fight the same battle, but maybe I'll lose. Because guess what? I'm not Elon Musk. I'm not built to face problems the same way he is. But instead, in my own unique way, I am built to face these problems towards my dreams. So dream big and look and see how can I solve these problems in my way. Because guess what? This is my path, not somebody else's.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And in terms of why you dream big, that's probably I'd say the most important question is to ask that. Because if you look at today's society, many people settle for a mediocre lifestyle. But the key in this sentence is the last bit, that they don't want. A mediocre lifestyle that they don't want. If that's what you strived for, to have a decent paying job and spend time with your family, and you make it, I'd say that you're pretty happy. But if that's not what you wanted, if you wanted to be rich, or you wanted to move to the Cayman Islands, or if you wanted to go travel the world, and you're not doing that right now, you settled for something you didn't want. There's a guy who I've been having a conversation with on TikTok. I commented on a video about being positive, right? And I just said, the most important thing is just that you keep smiling and living your life. Pretty simple comment. A lot of people liked it. They agreed with it. But one guy responded to it saying, what did he say? Oh, he said, "I'm not funny and I don't know how to smile. I'm just not a happy guy. I'm always mad." And then I just said, well, maybe it's time to make a change. If your life isn't the way you want it to be, why don't you change something? And then he just kept on finding ways to defend his stance of why his life sucked. And I sat there thinking to myself, dude, if you're not happy, why are you trying to defend this stance of not being happy? Don't you want to be happy? Like, if you want that, why don't you change something, right? And that's what made me realize that a lot of people have simply accepted a fate of a mediocre lifestyle or a garbage lifestyle. That's the importance of dreaming beyond what you have now. It's just like you said last episode. What would you want if what you have isn't?
Precisely.
Right? So if what you have isn't exactly where you want to be, dream big, dream further, and then go for it. That's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, and I'd say in my personal experience, when we, like last week, we talked about running the Sun Run. And I've never run a race in my life. And if I'm being honest, I didn't think I could do 10K at all, like genuinely, which pretty sad because it's not that lengthy of a distance to a lot of people. I didn't think I could do it. Now I want to run a marathon. Like, it's actually my next goal is to run a marathon. And that's a crazy goal. Most people will never run a marathon in their life. That's a pretty big distance. Yet I'm dreaming it.
Wait, how long is it?
42 kilometers. I think.
42 kilometers.
Yeah, 26 miles.
Damn.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's about 20 more miles than the Sun Run.
That's a lot. That's a lot of miles.
4.2 times.
But if you keep training,
right?
you'll get there
And I
eventually.
think it's more that because I was able to test the waters, I found out I'm far more capable than I thought I was. Because I'll tell you, I don't think I could just on a whim go and run a marathon. Obviously not. But the premise is that I went and did a 10K, and that's leading me to believe that I could do something more. So if you never go out there and try anything, you're never going to be able to dream big because you think you are far less than you are. We only dream as big as our mind lets us. So if you can expand your mind to see, hey, I can do way more, then you'll be able to hit bigger dreams. A lot of the time, and I see this in school the most, I'd say, out of any place, is people will come into class and they'll say, oh, as long as I pass or as long as I get a C, I'll be okay. And what that does is it leads them to put in a C level effort, not their best effort. Because I guarantee you that most of the people I know, now there are select few courses I'd say that are really, really difficult to do well in, like extremely difficult courses. And I'd say in my experience, it's been calculus and chemistry. Those are the two courses that have been really tough for me. And I would say out of those two courses, had I put, well, not calculus because I'm still doing it right now, but in chemistry, had I put in a better effort, I definitely could have gotten a way better grade. But I didn't put in the effort because I was being lazy and because I settled for something less. Because I said, hey, as long as I can get this grade, it's fine. But whenever you get hit with the as long as, that mentality is so detrimental to you. You need to be on the I can get mentality.
Yep.
So a lot of people I see in schools are like, oh, as long as I pass, man, it's okay. So then you put in the effort to pass and, you barely pass. You feel a sense of happiness, but you set the bar so damn low. You could have done so much better. But what'd you do? You sold yourself short. You chose to not dream big, and that leads to you, doing small, I guess. So it's a direct correspondence. Is where you believe you can go is where you will go, I think.
Well, it takes me back to one of our very first episodes where you talked about something that our dad said to you. And he said that no matter how impressive this is, if you are capable of this is not very impressive at all. Mm-hmm. Or it's not really fulfilling your journey or what you're supposed to be.
This is not success. That's what he told me.
Damn, he actually cooked with
that
that
was
one.
Such a great quote. So I honestly, that really helped me flip the switch in my life, if I'm being honest. Because I sat there thinking about that quote, and I was just like, man, it's true.
Yeah.
Because I think we all deep down know these things, but it's the way that someone presents it in a new light that eventually might hit you in the right way. So it's kind of like a chemistry reaction, actually. It needs favorable geometry and enough energy to actually react. So you might have the perfect reactants in place, but something just hasn't collided right. And, I'll take this back. Suppose that you are an atom in this, in this reaction. Okay? If you never move, you're never going to hit you're never going to reach the activated complex because you won't have enough favorable geometry or kinetic energy because you aren't moving, right? You're not doing anything. So as an atom in, this reaction of life, you need to go out there and move around and do things, experiment things, try these collisions, and sometimes they'll fail. Just like in chemistry, these reactions, they don't always work. So in life, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to do things that you're not going to be good at. But you never know until you try. So you never know which collision is going to be favorable.
Yeah, and dreaming big pushes you to find more. It pushes you to be better. Because this is something that I kind of thought of on my own as I sat there and was brainstorming ideas. I thought to myself, if you're dreaming big, you probably can achieve what you want the way you are right now. Let's say you want to bench 225. Definitely can't bench it the way you are right now, so you got to get in there and train. Let's say you want to be a millionaire. Can't do it the way you are right now. You got to go out there and get some business experience and learn how to make money. But what if you can achieve the dream that you want right now? What I'd say to you is if that's what genuinely makes you happy, fine. But maybe it also could mean that you're just not dreaming big enough. I think that a big dream or a correct, I guess there isn't really a correct dream, but a dream in and of itself should be something that pushes you beyond what you thought you were capable of. And it should be attainable with effort and work. Think about the word dream. What do we use to describe it? We use it to describe visions we have as we sleep. So do you think that this fantasy vision should be easily attainable? No. The whole point of it being a dream is that it might not be easy to get, but if you got it, you would be ecstatic. That's the biggest thing and most important thing about dreaming big. You got to go far.
Yeah, and I love that idea you brought up about like dreams being this, is it fantastical?
Fantasy?
Well, yeah, but like, what's the adjective for that? I don't know. Well, there's probably a word for it, but these fantasies that we have about, well, what we consider to be dreams, the whole point is that they're kind of out of reach. But that's why you got to run to go chase it, right? You got to go and get it. And one thing a lot of people like falter on when trying to reach their dreams is that they don't have a clear vision of their dream, because where's your dream? It's going to be ahead of you, in front of you. And what have we talked about a lot on this podcast is people being stuck in the past. And there's a quote from a very, very intellectual individual.
Okay.
And the quote is, "Things you did in the past you thought were right. Why be angry at the past you? He doesn't exist anymore."
Damn.
You know who said that quote?
No idea. Tell me.
It was Andrew Tate.
What? He said that too?
I added the "he doesn't exist anymore" onto the end of the quote because I like the idea. Is that the past isn't real anymore. It doesn't exist. So why be so caught up in it? And a lot of the time, where you make a mistake in the past, but really you, in the moment, you usually think you're right. Of course, down the line, you'll think, that was such a stupid thing.
Yep.
But for example, suppose that before a test, you're like, you know what? I'll be fine for the test, so I'm going to go play video games.
Oh, yeah.
At the time, you're thinking the test is going to be okay. After the fact, you obviously reflect and you're like, dude, that was so stupid. Why did I play video games? I obviously should have studied. But in that moment, when you chose to make that decision, you really thought you were right. And as foolish as it is, we make mistakes. So why sit up at night being angry at that guy, that literally dead guy, because he doesn't exist anymore? Why would you stay up and be angry at him for a mistake you made? Or really a mistake that he made? Exactly. These people don't exist. These past versions of yourself aren't who you are. So stop letting that define you. Stop being focused on being angry at that guy and look forward to your dreams. Because that guy, he's going to hold you back.
Yeah.
If you keep looking back at him, you're not going to be able to see the dream in front of you. That's why so many people have this problem of being unable to dream big. They say, I've made mistakes in the past, so I must make mistakes in the future. Instead of looking in front of you, you're making an inference of what's behind you. But the thing about life is that it's unpredictable. You can't say with certainty that this is what's going to be in front of me. There may be a rock in front of you, or there might be a paved road. You don't know that. So instead of looking behind you and trying to say, okay, it was a little bit rocky back there, so it must be rocky up here, open your eyes and see that there's probably a clear road right in front of you that you want to run on, but you just haven't been looking.
Yeah, well, the same way you wouldn't expect a toddler to be able to solve complex algebra, you can't expect your past self to act the way that your future you wanted you to.
Exactly.
Right? But that's the thing, though, that if you understand that truth, it also makes you appreciate what you have right now. You have the opportunity to make future you proud. Like Matthew McConaughey always says, his hero is him 10 years from now. So, do you want
I think it's 5 years from now.
Oh, yeah. 5
Or
years
maybe
from
it's 10. I'm not sure. But
Either
yeah,
way,
yeah, either way.
Matthew McConaughey's hero is him in the future. So do you want the future you to look back and say, man, he's such a loser? Do you really want that? No. So put in the effort now so that in the future you can be proud.
And the future you isn't just extended by your existence. It's by your kids and your grandkids. We've talked about it. Imagine your grandkid walks up and says, hey, grandpa, hey, grandma, what was it like when you were younger? What did you do back then? And you just say, I didn't really do anything. And
I
that's
watch
it?
TikTok and let my brain rot.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about how tragic it would be to them. How many times have you heard stories about your parents and you're like, damn, that's crazy. Like they did that, and you get shocked by it. And I've heard stories from my parents and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that you guys have done that or been through that. That's crazy. So don't you want those stories to be able to tell your kids and your grandkids? Wouldn't you want your life to be interesting? Wouldn't you want people to be like, when you go, don't you want to be a role model for them? That's the way I see it. And back on the, who is your, like the Matthew McConaughey, what he was saying about how his hero is him in the future. In English class, we had this question on the board, and it was supposed to relate to a story or a poem that we were going to read. And it said, who or what is your guiding force? Why is that? And then she listed a bunch of people like a friend, family, teacher, whatever. And I wrote that my guiding force is me in the future because that's who I'm chasing. That's the guy that I want to be. And not only that, but I want him to look back on me and be glad about who I was. Because the truth is, the future you, when you look back, you can see the impact that you've left. In the moment, you don't see the impact. You see the impact in the past. Like imagine you're walking on this muddy path, right? Each footstep that you take, you won't see any footsteps in front of you because you don't see your impact on the future. You will only see your impact on the past. So as I walk through life, suppose that I stop to reflect on my past, I'll see all the impacts that I made. I want my future self to look back and see a whole lot of positive impacts because that's my life goal, is to be a person who leaves a good imprint on this world.
Damn. Dude, that was a very good analogy.
I really like that analogy.
But also another thing that dreaming big will force you to do is to realize how finite your time is.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you think about it, a lot of people go about their life day to day, getting up out of bed tired and lazy. They go on TikTok, they watch Netflix, they play games, and they feel depleted before they even start their day. But to those people that say, I have a goal, I want to be in this place, I'm dreaming big, I got to make it big. Then they start realizing, dude, I want to go this far, but I only have this much time to do it. I got to make every second count. So they live their life the same way. Without a purpose or a goal or a dream, you will not value time the way that somebody who has that does. So find your big dream, chase it to the best of your ability, and value every second because you don't have a lot of those in your lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Like we mentioned last episode, you gonna die. Your life is but a speck of sand in the universe.
That's so sad because I saw a quote right before this episode about like it's these two guys and they're in like a river or a lake or something, and they've got this. I know one of the actors. It's Shia LaBeouf, and he's with another guy behind him. And then the guy says, I think his character's name is Tyler. So he's like, Tyler, am I gonna die? And then he's like, yeah, man, we're all gonna die. But what matters is like what you do on this earth or something like that. Something along the lines of that. And the idea of finite time is what makes you value it so much, right? Like, for example, think about why are diamonds, well, I guess it's a bad analogy considering diamonds actually aren't as rare as people think. But think about diamonds and be like, why are people willing to pay so much for diamonds? It's because they're considered to be scarce, rare. There's not a lot of it. You ain't got a lot of time. That's the truth about reality, is that there isn't infinite time. So every second that you spend is important. It's valued. It has a weight. So why not spend that time moving towards where you really want to be, right? It's like you're a car. I feel like I've run back to this analogy so many times, but I love it because time is like the fuel you have in your engine. It's going to keep running out and keep running out. So why not get on the gas pedal and keep going?
Or why not drive towards a destination?
But yeah, that's my point.
Not aimlessly on the highway.
But yeah, okay.
There you go.
True.
But Oh, I had such a good idea. Now it left me. Oh man. Whatever. I'm just gonna forget about it for now. It'll come back to me though. But another insane idea I had is, have you ever heard of the fleas in a jar analogy?
Oh yeah, where it like jumps.
Yeah.
But go
So,
ahead.
for those of you that don't know, an experiment was done on fleas where they placed a bunch of fleas in a jar with no lid on in a box. Now, the fleas were allowed to jump as high as they want. One day, there was a lid placed on the jar, and the fleas realized they can't jump any higher. After the first week, all the fleas stopped jumping that high because they realized they can't go out of the jar. The researchers then removed the lid, and the fleas continued to jump at the lowest level, not high enough to get out of the jar, even though there was no lid anymore. So they've conditioned themselves to be weak, to not dream big. Imagine if one of those fleas said, you know what, I'm going to try and get out. I'm not going to give up. And he jumped high enough and realized there was no lid, and he got out. Don't you think that would also inspire all the other fleas to jump out as well? That's why you should dream big, because you can show other people how possible it is to be successful in whatever field you want to be in. And that's the beauty of life. You get to inspire others, just like how I asked you who inspires you at the very beginning, or Matthew McConaughey talking about how him in the future inspires him. It's about pushing the boundaries and showing other people what's possible.
And I'd say it's kind of the whole point of this podcast. The reason we started is that we came across, this happiness in life, and now we're trying to spread it to other people. We're trying to give back to other people. But the truth is, as much as you may try, you cannot force other people to dream big or to really be happy. There is no forcing it. But there is, guiding people. But there's actually, it's a little excerpt that I want to read from a book. And it says that, I just got domed by 2 books.
Damn, that's the first time the books have fallen.
All right, well, anyway, the quote is that it's easy to see vicious cycles in others. That's why we're tempted to take charge of other people's happiness. But you cannot reach into someone else's brain and make new connections for them, nor can they do that for you. If you focus on other people's brains, you may fail to make them happy and fail to make yourself happy. And this is from Habits of a Happy Brain.
Oh, yeah.
That I brought on the other day. And the simple idea is that happiness cannot be forced upon somebody else. And it cannot be achieved the same way for each person. Because in the end, the way that you view a situation is what leads to, your happiness.
That's true.
So, for example, just right now, when those books fell on me, I could have broke down. I could have been like, oh my God, this is so stupid. I look so stupid on camera.
You want to know something crazy?
Yeah.
I was about to use that too. I was going to say that the books fell, but you want to know what made me happy? Like, even though the books fell, I didn't feel bad because the car didn't fall. Because if that fell, it would actually break into a million pieces and I'd have to make it again, right? So
actually, I built that car, just so you know.
Yeah, okay, buddy, whatever. Point is, if it broke, you'd have to build it again, and that's much more annoying than just putting 2 books. You want to just stack them like horizontally on the shelf so they don't.
Actually, I you know what? While we're here, I actually want to just reference the books. Why not?
Go ahead.
So first off is Mastery. That I picked these books today. So Mastery, I was reading it and I've gotten a fair way through, but it's a tough read. I'll say that to anybody out there, trying to read Robert Greene. He's a great author, but his books are very difficult to interpret. But I'd say I really enjoyed it because what it is just a ton, and I mean a ton of analogies and stories of real life masters, like people that really mastered their craft. And it goes through tons of people and how they demonstrated, the principles, which I like. I like him explaining things through examples because it's far easier to believe someone that actually did it than just somebody who's never done it saying you could do it. And I think, that's a really cool thing. I'm going to connect this right now because I just had this thought. But the idea of seeing someone do it, why not see yourself do it? Dream of you actually hitting your goal. Don't dream of a goal. Like, I don't want to say I want $1 million and just see $1 million. I want to see myself with that $1 million. I want to, and I don't think that monetary goals are great goals to have in life. Personally,
I mean, that's one part of it.
But yeah, so I would say I would picture myself, in a Ferrari or in a Koenigsegg Jesko, even though that's a very, very distant goal. But I would picture myself with it because that way I can see that, oh my God, if I can imagine it, I feel like I can get it. It's the same way when we went to the Vancouver Auto Show and I got to sit inside that Ferrari. It was a 488, right? I think.
Yeah, 488 Spider.
And I sat there and I was like, oh my God, I could have this one day. I could sit here. I had my hands on that wheel that I, drove so much in Forza with. I'm holding it in real life with my own two hands.
And it's not just plastic, it's carbon fiber.
Exactly. And that there was my dream. I lived it. I got to sit there and hold that dream that I wanted. And that's what really created a spark again. And I talked about it already, where it really made my brain go, damn, we got to go and get this. So to picture yourself in the scenario of success leads you to the ability to get it. It leads you, it really sparks that fire. It sparks that drive that allows you to go.
That's true. That's very true. You want to stack the books up now? Yep. All right. So now that we've talked about, actually, there's one quick story I wanted to talk about before we move on from why you need to dream big. Another point that I found out about is that dreaming big forces you to ask for more. Do you know that Jeff Bezos, when he was first starting Amazon, asked his parents for $250,000 to invest in his company?
It's a lot of money.
Before he was famous, he asked him for $250,000. His parents said yes. Do you think Jeff Bezos would have ever asked him for that kind of money if he didn't dream big on what Amazon could be? No. So dreaming big allowed him to ask. And then what? That $250,000, you know how much that's worth today?
How much?
Guess.
100 million.
$48 billion.
Jesus. It's a lot.
$48 billion. And that is one of the, I believe, the largest payoffs in human history in investing. So you got to learn to ask for more and find more. And you won't do that unless you dream big. So now that we've discussed how you dream big, the next important step is, I asked why you dream big. Now, as I said before, how do you dream big? What are the steps? What is important? Now, I recently watched a TED Talk about this. And it was about, what was his name? Ian something. But if you go on YouTube and you look up a TED Talk about dreaming big, he's there. And he essentially outlined the steps to dreaming big as an acronym. DREAM is an acronym. So the first one, D, dream it. Obviously, to realize a dream, to make it happen, you have to have one in the first place. So how do you have a dream successfully? First, it should be a goal that you need to work for and strive for. It should be maybe not far off in the future, but it should be something that is attainable with a lot of effort. It can't be something that's easy, okay? And the next thing to do is to illustrate every detail about it. That's what all successful people say is you got to be able to visualize it very clearly. I'm in this situation 10 years down the line. I have this much money in the bank. I have this kind of a house. I drive this kind of a car. I have this kind of a wife. That visualization is what allows you to go towards it. Because think about it. If you don't have a clear image of where you want to go, where are you going? Right? When you say I'm traveling to Japan, you know exactly where you're going. I'm going to Tokyo, or I'm going to Kyoto, or I'm going to Osaka. You know exactly where you're going and what you're going to see there as well. So what's the point in saying, I'm going to go to Japan, but I don't know where I'm going to go in there? Obviously, that'll never happen. That's why plans never make it out of the group chat, because you never talk about exactly where you're going to go or what you're going to do.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with life and dreaming big. If you don't illustrate that dream very clearly, you'll never make it. And one personal experience that taught me this was a story about a young gentleman who came up to me when I was working. He walked up to me and he said, "Hey man, how's your day going?" And I said, "Oh, it's pretty good." Then he said, "Do you want to be successful in life?" I said, "Yeah, I have big dreams and I want to go places." And he said, "Okay, have you thought about a plan to get there?" And I was like, "To be honest, not exactly." And he said, "Okay, can I talk to you for a minute?" So he pulled me aside and he said, "My mother told me this beautiful story. And she said that in order to be successful, think of it as a GPS system. First, you need to navigate to a destination of sorts. You can't really map anywhere if you don't have a place you want to go. So you need to define that place first. Be specific. You can't just map and say, I want to go to Japan. Like I said, you got to be specific on which city you want to go to. So life the same way. Life is the same way. Map where you want to go. The second step is look at the route. That's your plan to get there. So life mimics this GPS analogy very, very closely, because You have a path, but that path only appears to you when you've defined where you want to go. So that's the first step. Dream it. D. Next letter, R. And for R, the word is routines. All successful people follow routines and rituals that help them stay on track to achieve these big dreams. They're systems. That's the truth about success. You need systems in place because if you leave it up to your little monkey brain up here, it's not going to get anything done. There are going to be days where you don't want to do it. But guess what? You do it anyways. Why? Because it's built into your daily routine. Tell me, how have routines affected your life these days?
I mean, I haven't been going to the gym lately. That's been pretty detrimental to my mental state.
There you go.
And I just want to, I know you're in the middle of, explaining
go
your
ahead,
quote, but
interject.
one thing is, it's another quote, and I don't know if I've said it on the podcast. I think I haven't, because I still have it here on my notes, and usually I delete stuff after I say it, but I genuinely can't remember. But the quote is, "The only shortcut to life is to show up every day, because sometimes you get lucky, and you'll never miss a lucky day if you try every day."
You indeed did say that.
I did say it?
Yes.
Damn.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you said
Well,
it
that's
now,
exactly.
so
It's the
explain.
same premise. Is discipline is the exact way to do it. To do the same thing over and over. To keep going at it, regardless of how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Because one day will be that explosive day. Right? It's the same way we upload all the time. Even though sometimes you get 2 views on TikTok.
Yeah.
So what? Because you never know one video. Imagine if after our first video had 2 views.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that and I was just like, damn. This is kind of tough.
Mm-hmm.
And of course even now, we're still not getting that many views, but it's a hell of a lot more than before.
I mean, to be fair, that right now is a special case because of the whole shadow ban situation.
Well, yeah,
but-
I meant more on YouTube. Our
Oh,
first
yeah,
ever
yeah.
YouTube video, episode 1 had 2 views.
Yeah.
I remember looking at it and seeing that. I was just like, damn.
And the funny thing is, it's probably us clicking on the link or something like
Yeah,
that. by
exactly. I
accident.
know. And at first I felt so sad about it, but we kept going at it. And now we're getting 50, 60 views per YouTube video.
Yeah.
Which to me is crazy that there would be 60 people out there that actually watched it, because that's a lot more people than I'd imagine. 2 full classrooms of people listening to us talk for an hour.
And
It's
also,
pretty crazy.
yeah, and also, I've had nothing but positive feedback from everybody who I know in real life who's watched it. For example, this is a shout out to my boy Jaden, because I talked to him. He actually talked to me about it yesterday, and we had a good conversation about it, about, what it's like to actually get out there and try something new and how you deal with hate and all these different things regarding the YouTube space. And he said that it was very good and he sees us going very far. He even gave me some good ideas. So we're going to implement those coming up. So shout out to you, my goat Jaden. He knows who he is. But yeah, it was a good experience. And I believe that over time, you just slowly improve. And that's the beauty of life. So we got through D, we got through R, now E. This, in my opinion, is one of the most important ones. Do you want to guess what the word is?
Okay. Damn, am I actually able to get it?
You have to work hard to get to your dreams.
Work hard. Effort.
There you go.
Yeah,
See?
there you
Effort.
go.
Effort is the word. So you need to put in the hours. That's simply the truth. The reason why it's a dream in the first place, like we said, is because there is an element of fantasy to it. It has to be a bit far off. But to make it happen, you got to work. Now, there's a beautiful story that illustrates this very, very clearly. Leading up to the Beijing Olympics, Michael Phelps trained for 5 years consistently and did not take one day off. That includes Christmas and his birthday. He didn't stop. And you know why he said that?
Why?
Or why he did that? To be the best, you have to do what others won't. That's what it takes to reach your dreams. Because think about it. If you want to be a millionaire, how many people want to be millionaires out there?
Millions, billions. even,
Billions of
maybe.
people probably want to be millionaires. So, in order to differentiate yourself from them, you got to put the hours in, you got to put the effort in, because that's the only way that you'll achieve your dreams. All right? D, R, E. Next letter, A. Do you want to take a stab at guessing it? To make sure you show up every single day, you need to do this. If you don't do this, if you don't show up, you need to be,
You need to be, I
you
don't know,
need to hold yourself.
accountable.
Yes.
Accountability.
Accountability is A.
Yeah.
You need to hold yourself accountable. Like you said, you have missed the gym the past couple of days. If you don't reflect on that and say, I got to fix this and actually get back in there, you're going to lose everything that you built so far. So, number one, you need to be accountable for your own success. But the second thing is that don't you see a lot of these business people say, my mentor or my coach told me this beautiful story, Why do you think MMA fighters have coaches? It's because they can discipline themselves all they want and fight, but they won't be as great as they are without somebody else who also holds them accountable. Do you think Mike Tyson would be successful without custom auto training him or holding him accountable for anything? No, of course not. A mentor and a coach is very, very helpful to help keep you on track and accountable for when you don't show up. Think about it. If your friend doesn't show up for a workout, or if you don't show up for a workout, your friend should come up to you and be like, dude, what the hell? We're supposed to be hitting legs right now. Why are you not here? That's what should be happening. And that's what helps keep you accountable for working hard every single day. And finally, M. You want to guess? It has something to do with your brain.
Mind.
Yes.
Mindfulness.
No.
Mentality.
You're very close.
Ah.
It has mind in it.
Mind. It's not mindfulness?
No.
Mind.
You have to think you're the best. What does that mean? It's not a... Wait. It's a...
State of mind? I don't know.
Close. Mindset. It's a mindset.
Oh, my God. That's crazy. How did I
Well,
not get that?
That's fine. I mean, that's... you win some and you lose some,
yeah,
ladies and
definitely,
gentlemen.
you
That's
do.
how it is.
Hey.
So, mindset. Do you have the mindset to win? Do you have the mindset to make your dreams come true? When everything falls apart, do you still keep going or do you crumble and fall? Thomas Edison tried to make the light bulb 1,000 times. That's not even an exaggeration of the number. He genuinely had 1,000 attempts at the light bulb. Colonel Sanders tried to take his fried chicken recipe to 1,000 different places, and only on the 1,010th location did they accept his recipe. These people had a dream to be successful, and they failed. Alex Hormozy failed 9 times before his successful business.
Steven Spielberg failed film school.
3 times
3
before he got accepted.
Yeah.
What's his name? Why am I not forgetting his name? Ford. He failed at building cars twice. He had 2 failed companies before Ford took off.
Yeah, and even within Ford, the first car was like his 20-something attempt.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So these
Yeah.
people that revolutionized the world had a mindset to never give up. And that's what you need as well. You can't give up when the going gets hard. Like for us, when the viewership is at its lowest, when things are falling apart on the channel, or when I have exams and I can't stay consistent and we start to lose engagement, those kinds of things can't discourage us, or hate comments can't discourage us. We got to understand that we have a dream and a place to be and work hard towards it.
Exactly. I would say don't let other people get in your way, especially out to the viewers. Because I remember when I saw the first hate comment where somebody was like, bro, who let this guy have a podcast?
Yeah, I remember that.
That one was like, that stung for a little bit at first. But I was like, you know what? I'm out here doing my thing to go towards my goal. In the end, I'm trying to help people. If I didn't help that guy, then unfortunately, it is what it is. But the way I see it is I could get all the hate in the world, but one person says, thank you for helping me, I've achieved my goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
If one person says, thank you for what you've done, then to me, I've achieved my goal. So regardless of what all those people have said, I've gone towards my dream. I've moved to where I want to be. So in your life, there's going to be people that are going to be like, hey, this is unattainable. This ain't going to work out. And the question is, do you let it get to you? And I'd say that I'm fallible too. I've made the mistake of telling people, hey, man, are you sure you want to do this? And I feel like recently I did it quite a bit to one of my friends, and I felt really bad about it after. But the truth is, you need to be 100% confident in your dream that you will achieve it. Because I believe that manifestation may just be real.
Mm-hmm.
And this is crazy because I remember on one of the first episodes, you're the one that talked about this, and I said no. But I believe the idea is not so much that maybe there's an external being that brings it into existence, more that there is you. And when you fully believe it, you will take the steps to achieve it. It'll feel like some supernatural power is, taking over your life, but really it's just you moving towards where you want to be. And the reason it feels so weird is because you'd be doing things that are not aligned normally with who you are or who you believed yourself to be. But when you really hit those massive dreams of, man, I want to go this far, and you see yourself doing it, you will take every step in your power to go there because you're hungry for it now.
Dude, that's crazy. Hey, give me some credit for that manifestation stuff,
I will.
bro.
I will.
I told you it was real. And the other thing is, it's also mentioned in that second book on the shelf, Think and Grow Rich. Think about it. Think and grow rich. It's not, I mean, obviously you have to work, but the first thing is to think about it and to visualize it, to manifest it. You have to believe it with every fiber of your being. Remember how I was talking to you in the car and I asked you if you knew this guy named James Dumlin? You remember?
Yes.
So he has the account where he goes around asking people with nice cars, like, oh, can you give us some advice for the channel? Like, what would you say is the best way to get rich in your 20s or all these things? He asks very in-depth questions, not just what do you do for a living, like Daniel Mack, right?
Yeah, why you hating on Daniel Mack?
I'm not hating on Daniel Mack. He's great. He's good. Like, he did a fantastic job with building his career just off asking questions. But that's another thing. Yeah. You'll never know how far you can go if you never ask, right?
Yeah.
He never would have had answers if he didn't ask. But anyways, the point is, he owns the Instagram account, or James Dumlin runs the Instagram account called School of Hard Knocks or something like that. Yeah,
okay.
Now you know, right?
I know that,
Yeah, so he's interviewed a lot of very successful entrepreneurs, and one video in particular struck me like a lightning bolt in my brain. The guy in that video, I don't remember his name, but he was a very distinguished young gentleman, and he said, the fastest way to kill a big dream is to introduce it to a small mind.
Damn.
So when you talk about where you want to be, know that there are going to be a lot of people out there who aren't as open-minded as you are. There are people who are very closed off to possibilities. There are people who are very small-minded, and they'll kill your dream if you let them. They'll say, "Oh, that's not possible, dude. You got to put in 70 hours a week. That's not healthy. You'll fail no matter what. There's no way you can do that." There's always going to be people like that. But the question is, like you said, do you let it get to you? And I think that if the answer is no in your situation, you will be successful no matter what. It's simply a mindset. Do you think that Michael Jordan, when he got rejected from 9th grade basketball, would have ever thought that he'd be the best? Or do you think he would have achieved that if he didn't believe he'd be the best? That clip of him playing golf, he's walking over to the field, or what do you call it? A pitch? No, it's not a pitch. No. That's baseball.
Onto the green.
Course.
The course, yeah.
Yeah, sure, course. As he's walking there, an interviewer says, "Michael Jordan, game is on the line. You got one shot. Who's taking the shot?" Michael Jordan looks at him, stone cold, and says, "Me." Obviously. Is that the kind of mentality you have? Are you the best? Are you? Really? And do you want to be? Because if you do, then I think you're in the right place. And the beauty of dreaming big is even if you don't make it exactly where you want it to be, I guarantee you that your life will be 10 times better than if you sat here and settled for a mediocre life.
Indubitably.
All right. We good to go?
Yeah. But before we leave, you guys already know what time it is. It's time for Quote
of
the
Week.
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this quote comes from a song, and I'll never forget it because I remember listening to this song for the first time. And I didn't understand this line at first. But then when I looked at the lyrics of it, I was like, that's how he spelt it. That makes so much sense.
I already know what you're going to say.
And the quote is, "How could I make sense when I got millions on my mind?"
Never mind.
What was the quote you thought I was going to say?
No, I was thinking about an NF quote, but you know what's fine.
Well, say it.
It's, oh man, I actually don't remember it off the top of my head. It's like, damn. Okay, wait. You know what? You continue explaining the quote.
Okay, anyways, point is, how could I make sense when I got millions on my mind? And that's a quote from Post Malone in Congratulations, a song about him succeeding and reaching the upper echelon of life. And if you obviously break it down, how could I make sense, as in like making sense like coherently, when I got millions on my mind? So it's just kind of a play on money and the word sense. But yeah, I thought it was a very, very beautiful quote and that it changed my life. Did you find the quote?
Well, no, it was make a meal. Nah, I said make a meal. I thought it was the other way around. Make a meal. Nah, I said make a meal. But the idea is like, one person's thinking, oh, make like a meal, like food, or make $1 million. So one person's dreaming to make $1 million. The other guy's dreaming to making some food for home. Huh. But I mean, I guess it's not that good of a quote now that I think about it out loud. But I really do like that quote.
Post Malone stomps.
Yeah.
That was I'll never forget the day I listened to that song. That song is so good song. Too, man. Oh my God. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, thank you for the support. We are constantly crushing new subscriber highs, and we really appreciate it. And I hope that this episode has opened your mind to the possibilities. Because if you consistently live thinking that it's not possible, obviously it won't be. So dream big, work hard, and follow the acronym, which I'll quickly recap before you leave. So, dream the acronym. D, dream it. R, follow routines. E, effort, put in the hours. A, accountability, hold yourself accountable and find people who will help you do that. And finally, M, mindset, believe that you're the best, and you certainly will be one day.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 20 of the Brighter Horizons podcast. Crazy to hit that mark. It's a very beautiful mark. We appreciate you guys sticking around all the way to the end of the episode. Make sure that you go out there, think like a mad genius, and think big, dream big, and make sure you live a positive life, y'all. Peace out.